To do. You want to go through this twice, you can do that. Good afternoon. I'm a little disheveled. I just got done teaching yoga at our American Family Fitness in Colonial Heights, and I didn't quite realize how far I was going to be driving, so I was going down 288 like a banshee. So welcome. My name is Maria Beall. The A is silent. Some people call us Beall, right? You look at the name. Would you think that's Beall? And then some people will say, oh, I know the department stores that are down south. You guys know about the Beall department stores down there? Yeah, we're not related. I wish we were. I appreciate Shannon asking me to come. This is part of my community service of getting out into the area of Richmond and giving back. I know Shannon through teaching at American Family. And I also know John and Betsy, because Betsy used to take my yoga classes, and John still takes my step classes. And it's always nice to see John when he shows up. Betsy was coming, but it's nice to see you guys. So I am from Richmond. I've been in Richmond since 1983. I came here to go to VCU, but I was a military brat, so I have lived all over. Just to give you a little idea of who I am and what I'm going to talk about today. I have been in the industry, the fitness industry, for 37 years. I have my undergrad degree from VCU in community wellness, and someone said to me the other day, that's a major? And I was like, yeah, that's a major, community wellness. And I am an exercise physiologist with the American College of Sports Medicine, and I'm a registered yoga teacher, 200-hour trained. So I love yoga, I talk about yoga, I talk about how beneficial yoga is for the aging body and what it can do for our spines, and we're going to get into that. I love talking about how to develop lean mass and bone mass as we age. I'm going to get into the science of that. But what really inspired me to do this seminar, it's called Ageless and Audacious. That's my seminar. And so we're going to go back in time a little bit. Go back in time. In 1998, my husband and I were just surfing the channels when we had cable. We haven't had cable in over a decade, but back when we had cable, we were searching just for something to watch. And we caught the tail end of a show on a network called PAX TV. The network does not exist anymore, but we caught the tail end of a show called Mrs. America. And I had never seen anything like this ever in my life. And it was married women up on a stage talking about their families, their community involvement, and what they loved about being married. And I looked at that and I was like, there are pageants for older married ladies? I didn't know that thing even existed. And I said, I think I'm gonna try that, because I was in fitness, used to being on the stage, really excited about my platform of just being, talking about health and wellness. And my husband said, you should try it. You should see if you can do it. And I entered the Mrs. Virginia pageant at the age of 34, just a little soccer mom driving a minivan. And I entered this pageant at 34 in 1999, and I won Mrs. Virginia. And I went to Mrs. America, and it was on national TV, and it was filmed in Hawaii. I won this 10-day trip to Hawaii as Mrs. Virginia. I'd never done anything like that in my life. And it was life-changing. I was around these very strong, empowered, smart women who were representing their community. Fast forward to 2025. 1999 to 2025. The Mrs. America organization says, hey, we're going to change the rules, and if you've won a state like Mrs. Virginia, we've changed the rules. You can come back and compete again and try to win that state again. So I said to my husband, you know what? I should just do it at 60 and see if I can win again. And I did it, and I won again at 60. And I'm the oldest woman to have ever done that, and I'm the only woman to have ever won Mrs. Virginia twice. And the reason why I did it this time was just to say to the younger people, you don't have to stop dreaming and setting goals when you hit a certain number. because I was way older than anyone else. And then I went to Nationals, which was in Las Vegas, at Mrs. America. And there was no other woman in their 6th decade. There was a couple in their 50s. Mostly women were late 20s, in their 30s. And I won the National Fitness Award at 60. So I came home, that's the swimsuit award. And I won the swimsuit award at 60, and I was like, man, this is really cool. I had 0 expectations going out to Vegas, 0 expectations. I just wanted to represent my state. So the reason why I do Ageless and Audacious is I just talk about how can we strengthen this thing that we're walking around with so that we can age with mobility, spine lengthening, muscle mass, and bone mass. So a few years ago, I was diagnosed with osteopenia in my hips. And it's genetic. My grandmother died from falling, breaking a hip. My mother had osteopenia. By the time my mom passed away, she was about 75 pounds. She died of malnutrition. That's just meaning that she was old and stopped eating. And I was also diagnosed a few years ago with Hashimoto's and another autoimmune disease called Behçet's. And I'd had symptoms my entire life, but it wasn't until I went through menopause that my doctor said, hey, I think something's going on. And they discovered I had these autoimmune diseases. And I was like, oh, I finally have answers to all these things that I've been living with my entire life that no doctor ever checked for. So once I was diagnosed with osteopenia, we just kind of kept an eye on it until I got a new doctor. She said, let's do a DEXA screen. Let's see what's going on. And she said, oh my gosh, your bones are older than you are. And I was like, well, that's weird. I've been in fitness forever. You'd think that they'd be really strong. She said, oh yeah, let's put you on medication. I said, you know, before we do that, let me try it my way. And so I consulted someone who had very successfully worked with her mother and a group of older women who all had osteopenia or osteoporosis. And she had worked with them and put them through a weight training program and was able to improve their bone density just through weight training. Now, I don't know at what level their bones improved. I cannot say that with certainty, but she did improve their bone density through weight training. So I said, you know what? What did you do? What did you do to improve it? And she told me 4 strength exercises that she did for the lower body that improved her mom's hip density and her little friends. And it was her master's thesis. She studied this and she went through weeks, and these women were very successful. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna take up that program. I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna see if it improves my hip density. And so far it's working. I haven't had a follow-up DEXA screen, but I have had a CT that said my bones were looking pretty good. So when I won Mrs. Virginia, I was like, you know what? I just need to tell everybody about this. I need to tell everybody how they can develop lean mass, keep lean mass, develop bone mass, and how they can lengthen their spines and grow, age with strength and a good back. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. So let's get into the weeds. Any questions so far? Any questions? You guys can ask questions. Okay, so let's get into the weeds of what happens when we age. This is exciting stuff, right? So when we age, we lose muscle and bone mass, right? Right? Yeah, it happens. It's a natural occurring thing. The loss of muscle mass is called sarcopenia. Like osteopenia, loss of bone mass. Sarcopenia is loss of muscle mass. And what happens is we have muscle cells called sarcomeres. Sarcomeres are kind of long muscle cells, and when you weight train, your sarcomeres split. They get traumatized when you weight train. Have you ever exercised and felt sore in your muscles? Yeah. See, in the fitness world, we get to this really weird place in our minds where we like that. We like when we're sore, right? Shannon's like, oh yeah, because you know you worked hard. So when it comes to weight training, and you've done weight training, and your muscles are sore, there's a couple of things going on. But one of the things is that your muscle cells have been traumatized. And when your muscles are traumatized on the cellular level, they have to heal. And when they heal, this is the science I was taught. Someone just told me the other day, or I read it, that the science is evolving, but we're gonna go with what I've been taught. That when the muscle cells heal, they get bigger and they multiply. So you guys know what it's called when you're like bedridden and you lose your muscle mass, right? Atrophy? You've heard this, right? Atrophy? So there's hypertrophy, and that's when things are growing, and there's hyperplasia when things are multiplying, the cells are multiplying. The only way that you can get more muscle mass without taking steroids, I don't really recommend steroids for muscle growth. You can ask Arnold Schwarzenegger about the repercussions of that, not good for your heart. But the one way that you can grow, the only way you can organically grow your muscle is through weight training. And if you are not weight training consistently, you right now are losing muscle. You right now are losing bone mass. And the only way to grow that back is through consistent weight training. And I've been told that you guys have a weight room here. Shannon gave me the scoop. You have a weight room and you have yoga classes. So we're going to talk about the benefits of both of those. So as we age, we lose muscle mass. But if we are doing consistent weight training, we can grow muscle. We can grow bone. And for me, this is extremely exciting because we may not have been ever taught about this, and our doctors may not have taught us about this, right? Our doctors are more inclined to say, you need medication. Not all doctors, but they go to medical school. And I'm never saying don't take medicine, and I am not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV. But I do recommend that you do weight training at least twice a week so that you can get these muscle cells, these sarcomeres, to split. They grow back together, they get bigger, and they multiply. They bring their friends in, and you develop lean mass. So, what happens to your bones when you do weight training? When you weight train, your bone is attached, your muscle is attached to your bone through what? What's your muscle attached to your bone with? Oh, I knew you guys were gonna know that. Your muscle's attached to your bone with a tendon. So when you shorten your muscle under stress with weights, let's just all take our right arm and just kind of lay it by our sides. Tuck your elbow into your waist and bring your arm up. And then let it go. When does your bicep shorten? When you bring your arm up, correct? Your biceps shortening right there. It's pulling on your bone with a tendon. When I grab a heavy weight, and heavy is going to be relative to you, when I grab a heavy weight, guess what? Now my bone is going, hey, what's going on? This is a lot of stress. And my bone starts to send out cells and says, I need to respond to become stronger. And that's the way your bone gets stronger and grows through weight training. So what does it mean to lift heavy? So I teach silver sneakers. Do you guys have silver sneakers here? Something like that? Yeah, something like that. Okay. So I've been teaching for 37 years. So when I go in and I teach a class, especially when I'm working with a population that's my age and older, because now I'm 60, so I'm starting to see 60-year-olds in my classes that are seniors. When I see this and I see the folks that are taking classes that have been taking them for a long time, which is great, classes are great, I teach classes. When I see people picking up the same 2 and 3 pound weights, I start to go into my lecture. And I say, how's that weight doing for you? And they've been picking up that weight for the last 5-10 years. And they're doing their little back rows, and they're doing their little bicep curl. And I'm like, do you have a dog? Yeah, I have a dog. Well, I bet you the dog food bag you're picking up is heavier than that chicken bone that you're using. And that's when I start to go into, you're aging, You're losing muscle as you age, you're losing bone as you age, and you're using the same 2-pound weight. It's not gonna work for you. You're gonna become frail, you're not gonna get as strong as you should be, and you're not gonna grow the bone that you need. And so my whole goal is to get people into the gym, but it can be very intimidating. Any questions so far? So what is heavy? What does heavy mean when it comes to weight training? Heavy, this right here is going to be the $1 million piece of advice that I give you in this entire training. Heavy is relative to each one of us in here. When I go do bicep curls in the gym, heavy for me is 10 to 15 pound dumbbells. That's heavy to me. That's not heavy to Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He's doing 70-pound curls probably. So I know that that weight is good for me when I get to rep number 12. A rep is one movement. When I get to rep number 12 and I can't lift any more weights. Now, if I get to rep 8 and I can't lift any more, I'm good. That's the weight I want to work with. Our magic number is between 8 and 12 reps of weight training to develop lean mass and bone mass. So if I go to pick up my 10 pounds, I usually do 3 sets of this little thing I've got. It ends up being 90 reps, but it's 10, 10, 10, and then I rest. 10, 10, 10, rest, 10, 10, 10. So as I'm going through my reps, and if I get to number 8, and I can't lift anymore, I'm like, okay, that's good. It's good. Take a little break. If I get to number 12, and I can go to 15 or 20 reps, it's a chicken bone. I got to put it down and pick up a heavier weight. So our magic number is between 8 and 12 reps of whatever you're doing if you want to grow lean mass and bone mass as you age to counter effect the sarcopenia and osteopenia. That's your magic number. Any questions about what a rep is? Any question about what you should feel? Shannon, ask me a question.
I'm trying to think.
Betsy, what's the question?
What about range of motion? What about a range of motion?
Perfect. Okay, so if I am picking up a weight where I want to be fatigued in my muscle between 8 and 12 reps, if I am, let's say, at 8 reps, I'm going 1, 2, oh my gosh, I'm feeling the burn in my bicep. Whoo, this is something. And then I get to number 9, and I'm like, I can't complete the range. I gotta stop. I'm done. I have to rest. The range of motion is very important. The complete range of what that exercise is, I want to be in it fully and completely and have control. It's all about having control. So if I start getting messy, and we see this in the gym all the time, and I don't want to pick on men, but it's usually young men that we see, because it's bravado, right? They're like, ah! And they're doing like these teeny tiny little ranges. You guys know what I mean. You've seen it, right? If you've ever been to a gym, you've seen it. And are they getting benefit? Yeah, they're getting benefit, but they could get even more benefit if they would be slow and controlled and complete the range of motion with that rep. So let's say I've never weight trained before, and I've come to this seminar and I'm listening to this lady say, you gotta do weight training, It's gonna develop lean mass, you're gonna be able to age with strength and be more independent. And I go to the gym, and I'm a little nervous. I'm like, I'm not really sure what to do. I would probably start with the machines where you take the pin out and you put it into a stack. You guys know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. I heard you have those. I have inside information that you have those. I would start with who walks in here on a regular basis? Walkers? Who takes classes? Anybody take classes? So your cardio, right? You're getting your cardio done. Fantastic, don't stop. Cardio is great for your heart and your lungs and your brain and your mobility, your balance, all that good stuff. When adapting or adopting a weight train program that you're gonna do twice a week, I'd start with just 4 exercises. We'll just start with 4, so we're not overloaded with too much information, biting off too much. I would take a little notebook into the weight room, or I could use my phone. If you have an Apple, you've got the Notes app in your phone. I would go in. Nowadays, the machines have QR codes. Do you guys have that on the machines? You can take a picture and it'll take you to a link and you can read how to use the machine. Do you guys have that?
We have the use diagram on the actual machine, you don't even have to do that.
Perfect. I like that better. So you can look, you can read, it tells you how to get into the machine. You probably have a professional here who can show you. I would start with 4 exercises. And the 4 exercises I would start with would be your lower body because they are your larger muscles. And I would start with a leg press. You have the plate in front of you and you press it. I'm taking the pin out, I've stuck it into the stack. I'm gonna be conservative at the beginning because I wanna make sure that my body adapts and my joints adapt. And I'm gonna be in that leg press and I'm gonna work between 8 and 12 reps. I get to number 12, I'm like, man, this is really tough. I can't go any further. That's the weight that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna write it down, 50 pounds, I did 12 reps. I'm gonna wait about 30 seconds and I'm gonna do it again. And if I'm just starting out, I'll probably do 2 to 3 sets, maybe just 2 sets, 8 to 12 reps. If I get to 8 and I'm like, I cannot go another rep, I'm still good because I'm in the 8 to 12 zone. If I get to rep number 6, I'm like, I can't complete, it's too heavy, take some weight off. And a lot of times we have half plates that if you take the pin out and it's gone too heavy, just leave the pin where it is and add a little half plate. Sometimes it's like 5 pounds. I'm not sure if you guys have that, but you probably do. Shannon says you do. All right, so I would start with lower body, leg press. So just imagine with me, there's like a plate in front of me and my feet are on the plate, both feet are pressing up. You guys know what a leg press looks like?
Yes.
It's a great machine because it works your glutes, works your quads, works your hamstrings. You engage your abs and you're hitting all these muscles. And the stronger these muscles are, guess what? I can get down and I can get up without holding on to anything. Because falls, we know falls can be catastrophic, right? You fall, maybe you never recover. But if I'm keeping my lower body strong, I'm gonna age more healthfully. Then I would sit in the leg extension machine. That's where the pad is across my legs. And I'm gonna lift that so that I'm working my quads. Quadricep strength is gonna be super important as we age. So if I'm working my quad, what bone does that strengthen? Your femur. Your femur, it's a huge bone. We don't wanna break the femur. So I wanna keep my quads strong because every time I'm squeezing and that quad is shortening, it's pulling on that femur bone and my femur is sending out osteoblasts and it's making it stronger. Then maybe I get into the leg curl machine. So I'm still getting up, I'm going to the next machine, taking the pin out. You're gonna have to play around to see what your weight is. Only you will know. So if you work with a trainer, do you guys have trainers?
Yes.
If you work with a trainer, I used to train back in the day, and people would say, well, how much weight should I lift? I'm like, I have no idea. Unless I put you in a machine, I have no idea. So you're gonna have to play around. So if I'm in a leg curl machine, now the pad is underneath my legs, and I'm working my hamstrings. So I'm curling. If I get to rep number what to what will be good. Oh man, you guys are awesome. Yes, 8 to, I raised 3 sons. I'm not used to people listening to me and taking it in and then regurgitating it back. So I appreciate you guys doing that. All right, so ham curl, leg press, leg curls, ham curl, leg extension, leg press, and then I bet you guys have inner outer thigh, adductor machines here. Yeah, hit one of those. Adductor, I'm gonna have the pads here. Abductor means I'm just taking my legs away from the midline. Abduct. So I'm working now glutes, working around my hips, working the muscles to make my hips stronger and denser. And that's gonna feel right there. And then if you wanted to adductor, that's inner thighs, your pads will be here, and you're gonna squeeze into the middle. So I would do those 4 exercises to start with. 8 to 12 reps, 2 to 3 sets, twice a week, on top of your cardio. Now, should we do weight training back to back with days? Like if I go on Monday, do you think I should go on Tuesday and do the same muscles?
No.
Why wouldn't we want to? You gotta heal, it's the healing process. So we recommend non-consecutive days, because remember what I told you, the sarcomeres, when I'm weight training and my muscles become sore, there's a lot of stuff going on. But in this reference with the sarcomere, it's splitting. Now I want it to heal, I want it to get bigger, hypertrophy, and I want it to multiply, hyperplasia. And that happens with rest. It happens with rest. Drink lots of water. I know there's a huge push about protein. I'm not even gonna get into that, because I think we talk way too much about protein, but drink lots of water and rest. You can keep walking, but then maybe if you're doing Mondays, don't go back to that muscle group until Wednesday. If you're really sore, maybe Thursday. I worked my triceps on Thursday. I can still feel my triceps. It's Monday. I just pummeled those triceps. Any questions so far? You guys are good. It sounds like you guys know about a lot of this stuff. Am I right?
Right.
Is it just kind of repetitive for you? Okay, because you guys are on it. All right, so that's gonna impact my muscle mass and my bone mass. It does take a long time for bone mass to start to respond to this. And then, talk to your doctor if you need vitamin D supplementation and calcium. Like I know there's like some interesting stuff about calcium supplementation. Like my doctor said, don't do it. Not great for the heart. But again, I'm not a doctor, so yeah.
Would you repeat before there was the leg press and
Absolutely,
the curls?
absolutely.
Hip abduction.
I gave you 5, but yeah, you could pick one of the 4. And leg extension. Leg press, leg extension for quads, leg curl for hamstrings, hip abduction for glutes and abductor muscles, and adduction for inner thighs.
So you counted those as 2.
Yeah, I gave you 5. This is my thought, is if those muscles are all connected into the lower body, I could pick 4. And you know what, you're gonna probably get a little bored at times, and you'll be like, oh, I'd like to do something a little different. That's just human nature, right? So like today, I taught yoga, I went out in the weight room, and I take my weight training very seriously, because my doctor wants to put me on medicine for my bones, right? So I don't mess around. When people are like, hey, can you meet me after your class? I'm like, nope, I have to weight train. I don't let people infringe on that time. You can ask John, like, I leave class, I go down to the weight room, and that's my time to be healthy. So I did leg press, leg curl. I got on my belly for the leg curl, because sometimes you'll see it that way too. The machine, no, the machine is like this level, and you get on your belly. And then the pad is here, and it's a leg curl. They also have the machines standing where you can do leg curl. They get kind of creative. You can also develop your hamstrings with something called a deadlift. Here's an interesting thing about hamstrings, and this is not on my outline. I love the hamstrings, and I love rotator cuffs. Like they're my favorite muscles to talk about. Your hamstrings biarticular. It crosses your hip and it crosses your knee. Biarticular, crosses 2 joints. So when you work your hamstring, I could do deadlifts. I've got weights in my hand, and I'm here, and I'm coming up here. You guys know what a deadlift looks like, right?
Yeah, y'all better say yes to that.
Yes.
Because we do them in every class.
Okay, so I can't do them anymore because of my spine. If I do them, I can only do one hand, and I have to hold on to something. I've got this weird thing going on with my lumbar area. And so yeah, deadlift, I could be here, I've got weights here, or I could curl, because that hamstring is crossing two joints. So yeah, if you get bored and you're like, man, I want to do something different, you could do that. Just make sure that if you're here, you're lifting enough weight in your hands to be able to feel your hamstring between how many reps? 8 to 12. Yes, 8 to 12.
So I have a question.
Sure.
If you have osteoarthritis, knee replacement or knee that needs replacing, and it's awry, are there modifications?
Well, I would go,
Could you repeat the?
absolutely, thank you. If you have osteoarthritis in your hands, how, like a deadlift might be difficult, but if you have a leg curl machine, you could still hit your hamstrings without involving your hands. I'm just gonna sit in the machine, do nothing with my hands, and have the pad underneath. Knees, make sure that you are aligned in that leg curl machine properly, that your knee is on the proper axis of the machine, and maybe you just try one leg at a time and see how things go. Yeah, you want to be with, you want to make sure somebody professionally sets you up in that machine. But I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be all right. You'll just have to start conservative and make sure that your timing, oh, we didn't talk about timing. Timing's really great, like maybe 2 seconds down, 2 seconds release. And as you're releasing, fight it, because a lot of times people don't have control over the concentric and eccentric phases of that. So make sure you have lots of control. And I think if you go light enough, you're gonna start developing the muscles around the knee, because they get really impacted with the knee replacement. Hamstring, quad, that's all like hugging that knee. So you wanna do all these exercises. Yeah, I think I answered your question, okay. Yeah, start out conservatively, but you gotta do it, you gotta get it done, for sure. Yes?
So I wanted to ask you about, when you're, when you're working a muscle with just say, today I'm working on my bicep, I'm using a 12 pound, and I'm doing 10 reps, and I can get to 10, it's burning, but I'm still, okay, should I keep going?
Great question. Should I keep going if I get to rep 10? If I'm doing a bicep curl, I get to 10, I'm like, I can keep going. I can get a couple more reps out. Yeah, if you get to 12 with good form, good solid form that you can control, you're at rep 12 and you can't go past 12, perfect.
So I always want to achieve failure. Do I?
Fatigue would be good.
Do I always want to get to?
I think fatigue would be good.
Always.
Yeah, failure means, you're probably not gonna lift that much weight. Yeah, I would say fatigue. Yeah, good question. All right, let's see. Oh, let's talk about what happens to your spine as we age. Womp womp. All right, so the longer we're on the planet, thank God for gravity, we'll be floating around, right? So our spines have 4 curves for shock absorption, right? We have 4 curves. There's a curve here. As we age, the little discs between our vertebrae dry up. This is exciting, right? Very encouraging. The little discs dry up between the vertebrae, and your discs are for shock absorption, right? Because you would have bone on bone otherwise. One of the great ways to keep your discs healthy and young is through yoga. Exercise, yeah, our spines don't like to be sedentary. Our backs aren't very happy when we sit. So one of the great ways to lengthen your spine is through some really cool yoga poses that you all are going to do with me right now. So go ahead and stand up. Like, what? They didn't tell us that we were gonna work out. All right, so I'm gonna try to, I wasn't prepared for how close the chairs were. We can slide the chairs up a little bit, and I'm gonna be in a chair. So yeah, you don't have to be all, I know you guys are all perfect in your rows. I'm gonna move your chairs away, because this is where we're going. Now this is moving. Are there wheels on those?
They saw it before.
Really, I moved really easily. All right, so whenever I'm teaching yoga, and I talk about the spine a lot because of my own personal stuff, we want to think about lengthening from the top of our head and then grounding down through the tailbone, because those are the two ends of the spine, right? Well, not the top of the head, but the neck. So we're thinking about lengthening through our necks and then our tailbone as we go into some of these yoga poses. So yoga is going to lengthen our spine beautifully, and we're going to work into mobility with our spine. Because again, our spine doesn't like to be sedentary. Our backs aren't happy when we sit. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, you're just not getting all that fluid motion to your back. But when you sit for a long time, what becomes tight? Hips. Hips. You have a hip flexor, it's part of your quadricep muscle, and when you sit, it shortens. And we don't want this to happen to us. I live half the year down in Naples, Florida, and when I go to the beach, I see a lot of this on the beach. And I'm like, man, I don't want that. I want to be able to look straight ahead when I walk. So we want to lengthen this hip flexor. All right, come to the back of your chair. This is something that you can do. You don't have to go to the chair for this. So come to the back of your chair. Behind your chair. Behind your chair. Yeah, you can bust out. Yeah, you don't have to be in perfect lines. Now, I do want to say, I feel like this chair can move easily. Please be careful. These are not Silver Sneakers chairs. But if you feel like it's going to move, your safety is number one, okay? Safety is number one. I'll put the mic down. One of the best ways to lengthen our spine is through something called downward dog. But I'm not gonna do downward dog with you guys. We're gonna do downward facing puppy. Puppy, that's right. I know, puppy's cute, right? Look at, it's all good. So your hands are here. Your arms are engaged and your hands are on the back of your chair. Lengthening your spine. Again, please be very careful. If you feel like it's gonna move, maybe watch your back. Okay. But I'm going down. Okay, so we're gonna take our feet out. And here's the part where you're like a canine. You have a tail, and you put your tail on the back wall. Which tail? Is it back there? Now you're gonna take a breath. And as we come down, if the hamstrings are tight, maybe we have soft knees. And then as we come down, try to open the knees a little bit. So now I'm lengthening my hamstrings, which tend to be tight muscles. And that lengthening of the hamstrings is really gonna help my back not work so hard. But I want you to think about the top of your head lengthening towards me and your tail moving towards the back wall. Now for a lot of folks, this is kind of hard because the shoulders might be tight and the chest might be tight. So as you're here, I want you to take a breath and then bring your shoulder blades towards your spine and try melting your heart towards the floor. Stay right where you are. I'm gonna look at you. Thank you for doing that. Okay. All right, you look good. Now I know this is kind of a challenge because those chairs kind of move. Come on up. Watch. A lot of folks are here. You're like this. Our goal to lengthen our spine and lengthen our hamstrings, watch this, is here. Wow. And the engagement, standing right there. The engagement's between your shoulder blades. So everyone take your shoulder blades and kiss your spine. And then release. Take a breath and kiss your spine again with your shoulder blades. Your mother just would be so proud of you right now. Did your mother ever tell you to stand up taller and put your shoulders back? She ever tell you that? She'd be so happy right now. So that's where the engagement is in that downward facing puppy. And what that's doing is that's allowing my spine to lengthen. I'm opening the tightest part of my upper body. It's right here. The center of gravity is right here. And it just, as we age, wants to get closer to the earth, right? So whatever I can do, I'm gonna open up that center of gravity for my spine and my posture. Do that with me. So you're gonna bring your arms behind you. If this is hard on my wrists, I can hold on to my forearms and just have those arms nuzzle into my back. Now you're gonna take a breath and bring your shoulder blades back to your spine. Open your heart to the sky. Press down through your feet. I could do this seated if I needed to. If standing is just too much, I could do this seated. But what we're doing right now is taking that center of gravity, and we're opening it up and strengthening our backs. Bring your shoulder blades a little more to your spine. Okay, and I'm gonna look at you. Absolutely.
You hold that for a count of 10.
If I need to be seated. Thank you. Now, I don't have any neck issues, so, you know, I'm okay in this position. I noticed that some of you guys were more neutral. Maybe you've got neck issues, that's gonna be okay too. Just bring your shoulder blades back and open your heart. Let me look at you.
Question.
Yes.
Do you do that for a count of 10 or 12?
That's a great question. Maybe like 3 to 5 breaths. Work with your breath. When you exhale, find yourself relaxing a little more into that. Yeah. So as humans, so much of our lifestyle has us in what we call forward flexion. When we're driving, on the computer, on our handheld devices, reading, you know, everything's right here, right? We don't have eyes in the back of our head, so we don't do a lot back there. So that makes our backs weaker, and it makes this over tight, your pecs. So right here is your anterior delt. It's your front shoulder muscle. You have 3 shoulders, 3 shoulder muscles. Anterior delt is tight. It's like a little rubber band. And as we age, comes in even tighter. And then your rotator cuff, which is 4 muscles that hold your arm to your back, your rotator cuff starts to round as this gets tight because of gravity and lifestyle. And so then your rotator cuff's like, man, I'm holding on, I'm giving you all I got. Remember that from Star Trek? I'm giving it all you got. You know, no one remembers that. Okay, never mind. So that rotator cuff is like, I'm giving you all I've got. And the rotator might start to tear and it becomes weak. Anybody play pickleball or golf, tennis, any of that stuff? So the rotator cuff gets a little weak with that too, right? So if we can do this at any time, we get that rotator cuff to start to squeeze, we start to open up through there and our game improves. But our posture improves as well and our spine starts to lengthen. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. Any questions? I know I'm throwing a lot at you. Yes. Downward facing puppy, yes. Do you lock your knees when you do downward facing puppy? Usually we don't tell people to lock their knees. I'm probably guilty of it. I'm probably a little guilty of the locking of the knees. But I would keep a softness to them, especially when you want to come out of it. Be patient with yourself. Things don't happen in a day. It takes time for the body to adapt, especially to strength training. It takes 6 weeks about for new muscle to grow. So be very patient, be very kind with yourself. Rome was not built in a day. Well, let me show you this that you can do for your spine seated. Cat-cow. You guys know about cat-cow, right? If you've ever taken yoga. Yeah, you know about the sequence of cat-cow. I can't hold this and do it, but I'll just show you and then I'll explain it. So you're gonna take a breath. You're gonna press down into your feet. Try not to have your back against the back of the chair, but don't come too far forward either. So press both feet into the floor, find your stability. You're gonna take a breath and then bring your belly button to your spine, like you're scooping out through your belly. Your back right now is super happy because you're opening up the space between your vertebrae. And then we come into cow, and here we go. Here. And then I can take a breath and come back into cat. I can do the seated. And just flow back into cow. Open your heart, open your shoulders. Come back into cat. Take a breath. Exhale. I'm gonna watch you do it. Yeah. Oh, you can also just have your hands here too. You know, like if you don't, I know you don't have the space because people are next to you and you have the arms of the chairs. Yeah, and so if you find yourself seated for a long time, like in an airplane, anybody flying anymore? Like if those chairs are so tiny, the space is so small, but we can get this done in an airplane chair. We can get, if we're a passenger in the car, we can do this, and this is excellent for our backs. It's squeezing, when we go into cow, we're squeezing our lower back. We're asking our lower back to activate, to wake up. Your lower back is usually in this passive state. It's usually overstressed. The lower back is usually overstressed. So in cow, I'm squeezing all of these muscles, especially the muscles that are supporting my spine. It's called erector spinae. And you're just like, ah, and then bring it in. Did you try it? Feels good, doesn't it? Didn't that feel nice? I can do this on all fours. And before you say, I don't know if I can get down to the floor, my knees hurt, you can do it in bed. You can do it in bed. When you wake up in the morning, just roll on over, do hands. If your wrists are okay with it, and you're on your knees, do cat-cow on all fours. And it'll help you also strengthen your upper body. So that can be done. All right, I'm gonna make you stand up again. It's like Catholic Mass. You're down, you're up. You're down. I was raised Catholic. Anybody else?
Yep.
No. The workout in the church. All right.
Yep.
So come behind your chair again, please. Come behind your chair. And this is the last literal, no pun intended, leg of my presentation. And it's about developing balance and maintaining balance, because we want to have balance. Why? Yeah, so we prevent falling. Because I don't know if you guys are like me, I trip a lot. I don't know why. I trip a lot going upstairs. I think I'm just thinking about other things and not lifting my legs. And I tend to trip, but I don't fall. And that's the big thing. We want to avoid that falling. So in order to develop balance, you have to take yourself off center. That's just the way that works. And no one is born with good balance. You know how I know no one's born with good balance? I babysit my twin grandbabies who are like little drunk people. They have terrible balance, right? But we can develop it. So we're gonna come behind the chair. And here's what I always tell folks. If you feel unsafe and not stable, you hold on to that chair. No one's going down on my watch, okay? So I'm either holding on the chair, maybe I have both hands, and I'm gonna take my feet out. They're a little spread. And I'm just gonna start kind of moving side to side to activate the bottom of my feet and feel my toes. Yeah. Now let's shift our weight over our right leg. So much so our left foot starts to come up. And then just slide the left heel to the base of that right leg. Okay, so I'm holding here if I need this, if I need the balance. I'm holding that. Maybe then I take an arm up. This yoga pose is called tree. Tree. This is your little branch right here, your leaves. Yeah. How are your ankles doing right now? It should look like this, by the way. I call it like a kickstand. You're like this. You're grounding down into the right foot. Now I'm working on balance. And I have to work on balance. I probably should do it every day. So that if I trip, hopefully I don't fall. Now if I want to take it to the next level and I hold onto the chair, if I feel compromised, I would bring that bottom of the foot to the calf, not the knee, but to the calf. Did your ankle start wobbling at that point? That's a good thing. That means everything's kicking in. It's like your little systems are like, okay, let's go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's try it on the other side. So we're gonna shift our weight over our left. We're going to slide that right heel to the base of the leg. I hold on to the chair if I need it. Sometimes it helps to find a spot on the floor to focus on. Don't do this in the dark either, it makes it harder. And if I want to come to my calf, I can. Maybe I've got my arms up. Maybe I still have one hand on the chair. When could I do this at home?
Dishes.
Maybe like washing the dishes.
Maria, they don't do dishes here. I've said that 100 times.
Lucky you guys. Blow drying my hair. Brushing my teeth. Don't do it putting mascara on, that could be bad. Yeah, you just put this in your life, right? You just like work on it. Maybe you're just chatting with somebody, you're just like a tree, you're chatting, so implement this when you can, and then the next thing, your balance is phenomenal because you've been working on it. Have a seat. I promise I won't make you stand up again. You can go ahead and have a seat. So those are my 3 points of aging audaciously with strength and bone mass. Weight training, if you are not weight training, you're losing a fast metabolic rate. So your muscle is your metabolism. Remember I told you my mom passed away, she's like 75 pounds, and she passed away from malnutrition? She never ever weight trained. And she just ate less and less as she got into that final decade of life because she didn't have any muscle mass. Your muscle mass is what burns your fuel. So if you're looking also, and notice I didn't talk about appearance, I didn't talk about aesthetics, but weight training, we already know that it helps to develop higher confidence in folks. They start to feel good about themselves because their muscles are starting to look really nice, right? And they're getting a nice change in their body. So that part is always a wonderful benefit if that's what you're in for. But the weight training is all about your metabolism and you keeping that lean and that bone mass so that you can be strong as you age. Do I have any questions? Yes.
Would you say 6 weeks is the amount you would spend on each weight that you keep saying 6 weeks?
Before you would increase your weight?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, would you spend 6 weeks, let's say you are using a 5-pound weight and you're doing curls because this lady came and told you that 8 to 12 reps is good, and 5 pounds you're like, oh yeah, I can't get past 12. The minute you start working outside that range, if you can get to 15, it's time for you to go up in weight. So I don't know how long that's gonna take. You will eventually plateau, but you will increase your weight that you want to increase your weight because that means that you are growing lean mass and becoming stronger. Remember I was saying that I go in and I teach these classes and I'm like, let's not lift the chicken bones, the little 2 and 3 pounds, I call them chicken bones. Let's not lift the chicken bones, and then I start to get people maybe having a little heavier weight. This is in classes. I start to get them to have another set of weights that's heavier, and I get them to do a few reps with those. And the next thing you know, they're stronger because they're now challenging their muscles. So that's probably not gonna take 6 weeks. You're probably gonna get stronger sooner than that. But just be conservative because your joints need to adapt slowly. Did I answer that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah.
On the last exercise, which arm do you raise? The one that you got your foot up?
Tree pose, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because full tree is both arms in the air. And I was just having you take one arm to just kind of play around with it. I also, when I teach yoga, I do saguaro cactus. Do you guys know what a saguaro cactus is? They grow with a certain elevation in the United States. They're really cool, cacti. And so we'll do saguaro as well. We'll take those arms out. And this is kind of a cool one. This is a cool one because it's gonna open up my anterior delt that's tight. So you could do that, you could do that. So it doesn't matter. Any other questions? Yeah.
I have a reverse shoulder replacement. I have two knees.
Oh, you're the Bayern woman.
That are reversed
Okay.
from a fall.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that what the practice said you I can fit this one here. That's the same as going.
Sure, it's just another version. Are you working on your rotator cuff? Do you have your rotator cuff? The rotator cuff is 4 muscles that hold your arm to your back. Do you have that muscle group? Did they remove it? You would probably know. You should be working on your rotator cuff.
If you have a reverse shoulder, I'm having one.
Yes, tell us about it.
They do the reverse if you don't have rotator cuff left, and then you raise your arm with your deltoids instead of the rotator.
Okay. So they're gonna take your rotator cuff.
I don't have them.
You don't have one.
It's gone.
I would find out if you have one. Your rotator cuff helps you do this. Your rotator cuff helps you do this, helps you do this. The baseball players, they tear the rotator cuff because they're doing that. Yeah, so you do what you can. You do what you can. So if you're doing that balance pose, don't worry about your upper body. Just worry about this. I'm just doing that if you get bored. You know, yeah, if you want a little something more. Water fitness is excellent for you, by the way, with the knee replacement. Water fitness. But don't just stay in the water, still gotta get in the weight room. Because that's the thing, the cardio is great, like I said, for your heart, and your brain, and your lungs, but cardio is not gonna develop your lean mass. It's just not. I mean, it's gonna give you a little bit of lean mass, you're probably gonna get, some good calf muscles. But it's not gonna do what the weight room's gonna do. Do you guys have Netflix? Anybody have Netflix? There's an excellent docuseries called Arnold, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's like my hero. I think he's 78 at this point. He talks about weight training in this docuseries. You gotta watch it. It's great. And he's riding his bike to the Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, California. Just Arnold, just riding his bike out in public, going to the gym and lifting with people. Netflix, Arnold. You gotta watch it. It's like 4 parts. He does the whole docuseries with a cigar in his mouth. I don't really suggest that, but it's working for Arnold. Yeah.
Is water aerobics considered weight bearing for building bone mass?
No.
If you use weights in the water?
It is, or is water aerobics considered weight bearing? No.
If you
No.
use weights under the water?
Yeah, that'll get you some lean mass. You still gotta get in the weight room. If you want to have as much lean mass and bone mass as possible as you age. You're welcome. Great for cardio.
Yes.
Great, better than not doing anything for sure. I don't want anyone to stop their classes. Keep going to your class. So, this new research came out a couple of years ago, and now it's starting to become mainstream. I'm starting to see it in some articles. The research is participants who do dance fitness classes, Zumba, step. John hears me talk about this all the time. Step, where we're like linking choreography together and you gotta remember a little bit. They have discovered that the people who do that are less likely to develop dementia because you're using oxygen as fuel, right? You're using oxygen as fuel, and then your synapses and your neurons are like having to remember stuff, and it's like this cool little combination that happens in the brain that helps to prevent dementia. So I highly recommend those types of classes if you have them. And it sounds like you guys have over 50 classes a week here. Yeah, you guys have a great program. Another question, did I see? Yes.
Are any of the exercises that you showed us we should not do if we have a pacemaker?
Ooh, that's a good question. That would be something for your doctor.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It is important that you breathe during weight training. So I encourage people to, let's say I'm doing a bicep curl. I'm going to inhale to prepare and then exhale as I execute. You don't want to hold your breath. I do know that much. But the other part I would talk to my doctor. Weight training is great for your heart, by the way. Very beneficial for your heart. Any other questions? You guys have been amazing. Yes.
I'm just sitting here wondering, you know, as you age, my issues have been arthritis.
Yeah.
And don't you have a cure for arthritis yet? And, you know, when I went to the doctor, they send you to the physical trainers and start exercising.
Yeah.
Because I had bad back trouble, still do, but
Right.
a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, I was waiting for arthritis to come up with in the aging.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the point you're making is that, well, I heard you say though that your doctor said you have arthritis and then he sent you to a personal trainer. I know that arthritis does not get better being sedentary. I do know that. And water fitness is recommended for people with arthritis. But the weight training is still important. So, you know, if I told you the exercises to do today and you're like, I don't think I can do all of those, there are other ways to be creative and to find a way to work those muscles. We just don't have time for me to go over them today, but don't give up. Find another solution, because that's what life is all about, right? When you have an injury, you find what you can do around that injury. So it's the same thing, yeah, but don't give up. Keep moving. Keep moving that body. Any other questions? No? Okay, well I think that I'm done. You guys have been amazing.